All right, welcome to the Cybersky Live. This is Tech Talk Tuesdays with Graham Cybersky, aka GMS, aka Mr. Cybersky. Don't forget, besides this show, you can check out the Cybersky podcast, Health Talk, some quick rants that I make about technology, philosophy, and politics, and some tutorials on how to use Zoom, Google Meet, Google Classroom, and even some reviews, predictions, and discussions of popular television shows and series and movies, such as WandaVision, Avengers, and more. And I'll be putting up some trailer reactions for some upcoming Marvel movies soon. So like and subscribe before you forget, and let's get started. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up. Let's abuse the YouTube algorithm. You know what I mean? News from the Cybersky. First off, I figured out why I got that crazy feedback and distortion on my intro theme music last week. And I hope it didn't happen today. So I was using my phone to communicate with you guys in the chat, and the volume was slightly up. So while I had everything else, off and muted and headphones and all that, the phone was on. I didn't realize that. So it was playing at the same time. It was playing the music. You get it, feedback. It was picking up in the system. So hopefully that didn't happen today. Let me know in the chat if the sound was good on the intro music or if it was having that crazy echo and distortion like last week. All right, moving right along. Before we get deep, here are some quick bites, okay? Quick bites I'm not gonna get into in depth, but just things that you should know if you consider yourself up on the latest technology. For those of you wondering, when will we get to the future? Which we'll all know when it's the future when we have flying cars, right? When we were kids, growing up, people my age, adults, grown folks, we drew pictures of flying cars and we imagined the future, right? And the flying cars aren't here yet. And we've got all this other great technology, but no flying cars. Well, Hyundai and General Motors are serious about their flying cars efforts. That's right, they're working on them now. And they may bring air taxis out as soon as 2025, May, working on. I mean, they're putting millions of dollars into it. They're trying to get this going. So look forward. The future is just right around the corner, 2025. Another quick bite, an update on the story from last week. El Salvador being the first country to make Bitcoin legal tender. So it went through, they voted it in, and Bitcoin is now legal tender in El Salvador. Bitcoin remittance went up by 400%, which had a boost on the value of Bitcoin. But the dollar is still the main form of remittance. It didn't take over as much as they thought. So it didn't have the catastrophic effect that some feared it would have on the US dollar. So everything is fine. The US dollar is not crashing or anything. It just basically helps Bitcoin go up in usage and become more popular and more valuable. So keep watching. Next quick bite. More news from Captain Obvious. Making music and singing together can lower stress, improve bonds, new study says. The research, headed by a scientist who is also a musician, is part of an emerging field known as social neuroscience of music. A study published in American Psychologist shows that singing and playing music together helps develop the brain's function and social connections. Now, I've been reading articles like this since the 1990s, and I've been telling this to everyone as a music and technology teacher. And yet school boards around the country are always quick to cut funding for music programs and technology whenever there's some crisis and the kids aren't doing well academically. At the same time, they got to cut some things. So they cut the arts, right? Shout out to my arts teachers, my creative movement teachers, dance teachers, theater teachers, music teachers, technology teachers, and anyone who does any kind of creative art program in any kind of school system, especially public schools. All right, so obviously if you want to improve outcomes, you need to increase the amount of arts and you need to increase the amount of music and technology offered to young people in schools, as we can see from these studies. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, rant over. All right. Last quick bite for today, and then we're getting into some major tech and crypto news. And I don't think I need the headphones anymore, so I'm going to put those down. The creator of the World Wide Web, Sir Tim Berners-Lee, if you ever wondered who that was, yes, the World Wide Web, the internet as we know it, was created by Sir Tim Berners-Lee, he's selling off the original code used to create the modern internet as, dun dun dun, you guessed it, an NFT, non-fungible token. That's right, the guy who created the freaking World Wide Web, the main modern way we use the internet, way back in 1989, is selling the original code used. What is an NFT? And why do they often go for millions of dollars? Stay tuned and find out more at the end of today's Tech Talk. Okay, enough quick bites. Let's get into this. I'm going to lead off today with some heavy news about semiconductors, what they mean for stocks, the United States, and world economies. Then I have some interesting news about YouTube, where some of you are watching this right now. Shout out to my YouTube people, and shout out to the Facebook fam, because this is broadcasting simultaneously on my personal Facebook page and also Cybersky Videos Facebook page. So people, you can leave comments. StreamYard supposedly is going to let me see your comments. Let's take a look right now, no matter where they come from. So shout out to Hassan Baba. He's coming in from Facebook. Shout out to Danny Dog on YouTube. And AO Coach. Yeah, I missed that physical education when I was running down those teachers. Shout out to all the physical ed teachers, because that's another form of creativity, and it involves movement and health, right? And socialization of children, right? These things are very necessary. All right, and who else? That's all for right now. So yeah, keep sending your comments and questions, and something interesting, we might talk about it in the show. But there's some interesting news about YouTube that I'm going to give you in just a minute. Now, I also have some news about space travel, then something for the gamers out there, and finally, you guessed it, more crypto. I get so many requests for cryptos, blockchain, NFTs. So we're going to talk a little bit of crypto, just a little bit at the end, and then take a look at one artist who's got a new NFT offering that I think is very interesting. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss any of this. And if you missed last week's or any of the previous Tech Talk Tuesdays on Cybersky Live, where I discussed crypto and technology news from Apple, Google, Elon Musk, Mark Cuban, TikTok, the Fortnite creators, Epic, Bill Maher, and the 500 mutant mosquitoes released in Florida, any of that stuff, go back and check out Tech Talk playlist on the Cybersky Videos channel. Make sure you like and leave a comment on every video you watch, and smack around the YouTube algorithm for me. Good looks, I appreciate it. Now, on to the deeper, heavy stuff. Did you know that there is a semiconductor shortage right now? What is a semiconductor? And more importantly, why should you, I, or anyone in the general public care? Believe me, you should. Semiconductors are a technology needed for every smart device, from phones to computers to even common toasters, car radios, music keyboards. Another term for them is chips or microchips, right? Just about anything that starts by pressing a power button has one or multiple chips inside of it. So it's kind of a big deal. I know Kanye West thinks he's kind of a big deal, but this semiconductor shortage really is. Shout out to my wife, China, who put me onto this problem a couple of weeks ago, and I found it very interesting. So I'm bringing it to you right here. So if we don't have enough semiconductors, then we won't be able to fulfill all the technology orders, right? This also may raise semiconductor prices, which could be passed on to consumers, which means less sales, a drop in earnings for companies in the tech sector, right? Now, there are 1 trillion chips made every year. That's 128 chips per person on the planet, all right? So who runs the world? Not girls, yeah, girls run the world, but who runs the world is who controls the technology in modern times, right? So who makes the chips? Who makes them? All right. Right now, the biggest manufacturer of these chips is one company in Taiwan called TSMC. They make the most advanced chips, like, you know, I talked about the Apple M1 chip a couple of tech talks ago, right? And other super semiconductors that run the most powerful smartphones and computers. After TSMC, Samsung, based in South Korea, makes some of the less advanced chips that are still crucial to millions of devices. Now, this reliance on those companies and those countries has the United States and China both racing for technological independence. Since there's a shortage, manufacturing of the phones and the computers are on hold. This means going to affect product availability. Like if you try to get an M1 chip MacBook right now, they may say there's a 3-month delay on the order. You can buy it now. We'll ship it to you in 3 months. You're going to get that for the newest technology all over the place because the new chips are coming slowly because of this shortage, right? So it's going to affect you and me. Now, shout out to Mac Fuller in the Facebook chat. He said autos are really impacted as well. Yes, because cars all have computers in them. They have GPS, they have a computer that starts the car, they have computers that regulate the oil and the gas, everything, right? Good looking, Mac. China said also Taiwan is the main manufacturer. Yeah, I just mentioned that. Definitely, definitely. Keep those comments coming. Anything you add to the conversation is awesome. And if you're listening out there and you don't know how to get into the live chat, you can either go to youtube.com/Cybersky videos and look at the top where it shows the video that's live right now. And then you can comment directly on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, you can go to facebook.com/Cybersky videos. Same thing. Look at the top. You should see a post with this live going on right now. Now, manufacturing of the phones and computers are on hold, right? It's affecting availability. And the companies, so those of you that invest in stocks, the companies that make semiconductor stocks, those companies may go up because there's more demand than supply. And the companies that make the products have to slow down due to the shortage, and then they have to pay more for the semiconductors. Their stocks may go down. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, but if you are a financial advisor, this would be something you'd want to follow as it pertains to investing in the tech sector. Okay. Now, another problem. This also has countries like China wondering if they should invade and take over Taiwan and South Korea. But more realistically, and hopefully we won't get into a world war over technology, they would just increase their STEM education and create more in-house engineers, and in the future become self-reliant, be able to have their own semiconductor manufacturing, no longer relying on Taiwan and South Korea or any outside company. Okay. By the way, something else that's interesting and scary about the size of these chips, they're becoming smaller and smaller. The transistors which give their chips their functionality are measured in nanometers. So when you see one of these chips, like the M1 chip, for instance, is a 5 nanometer chip. And a few months ago, the smallest they could make was 7. And in another month or two, maybe another couple of weeks, they'll be down to 2 nanometers. They keep getting them smaller and smaller. Now, the transistors in there are measured in the billionths of a meter. A nanometer is a billionth of a meter. Currently, the smallest transistor is 5 nanometers. That's smaller, just to give you an idea, than a virus. 5 nanometers, a transistor that's smaller than a virus. Makes you stop and think some more about those conspiracy theories, government agencies and giving people microchips through injections. I mean, I laughed at those people because I'm like, there's a needle and then it's got this little thing and then there's going to be something that looks like the size of a square of a Rubik's Cube. This is how I picture a microchip, like one of these squares, And it's going to fit through a needle. These people are morons, right? Wait a minute. Smaller than the size of a virus. So that just makes you think. And guess what? They're getting smaller every year. Soon, we should be able to have transistors that are 1 nanometer. And then in the long run, people predict that we will get these transistors down to 1 atom thick. And that's the smallest we can go or can even be thought of, at the moment, because we don't know how to get smaller than an atom right now without setting off a nuclear explosion, right? Now, it's my hope that as the tech gets more and more advanced, these microscopic nanotechnologies will be used to send chips throughout the body, not to take over the world and somehow exert control over the citizens, but for positive medical uses, such as seeking out and finding and removing cancerous cells, or to aid the immune system in destroying a virus, right? So that would be awesome. And I know that there's a whole field of that where the medical field, researchers and scientists are doing work to use nanotechnology within the body for, cures and health and things like that. Now, due to the semiconductor shortage, companies like Intel have started to slow down in manufacturing, and they're actually going to start outsourcing manufacturing their chips to other companies. Intel used to be a leader on chip production, right? And Mac was getting their chips from Intel. and getting them designed by Intel, but then putting them in Apple. But now they have the M1 chip. Okay, so does that mean they're making their own chips? Aha. They're not manufacturing their chips. They're inventing their own chips. So Apple and Intel and these other tech companies, they have the knowledge and the know-how. They have the engineers, right? They have the tech gurus. They have the inventors to design these beautiful microscopic chips. But we don't have the facilities here in the United States that are complex enough to really manufacture those things that have to be so perfect to work for a long time under warranty and to be so small and they're delicate, right? So Taiwan and South Korea, those companies, Samsung and TSMC, they've perfected that and they've got the only facilities that can handle that. So as it goes right now, companies invent their chips and then send the specs overseas to get them manufactured, and then they get sent back and put in the devices, etc. Now, how does the United States fit into this picture? A lot of equipment and software that's used by TSMC, who manufactures these chips, right? Those software and hardware to manufacture those chips come from the United States, California, Silicon Valley, et cetera, right? The United States has leveraged its position to ban China right now. You can talk to Biden about that, from using its technology, citing security concerns. So companies like Huawei and maybe 60 other companies that are in China are blacklisted and can't get the software and hardware needed to manufacture chips. China realized this is the fight of the future. So rather than spending on military, they're putting a full court press on developing their own manufacturing capabilities. This reminds me of after World War II. Japan decided not to bother focusing on trying to win the arms race with the other superpowers in the world, right? They were like, we're going to take over business and finance and companies, right? And they did that. It became one of the wealthiest nations on the planet, and they kind of winning the war of finance against everyone, right? So there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to win than flying planes and ships over there, taking ships over there and starting trouble, right? You can win by controlling manufacturing. You can win by controlling currency, right? Business, et cetera, et cetera. So, our companies right now, we need there to be trade with China, and China needs there to be trade with the United States. So when you hear ideas like sanctions on China because they've done some unethical things, which does make sense to try to use sanctions against a country, right? When you hear about these things, just understand that banning products or doing business with companies in China that's proposed by politicians, the president, etc., it's not that simple. Everything affects everything else. And even though I'm not the biggest expert on it, I do understand that it's has ripple effects, and you have to think 12 steps ahead and understand all the moving parts, okay? It's not so simple. For China's part, they're tired of the tug of war and are putting all their resources into self-sufficiency in the future, okay? So they know that if they could get engineers and develop things, then and invent their own chips, and then if they can create the facilities that Taiwan and South Korea have to manufacture the chips, then they'll have their own self-sufficient system and they won't need anybody. So that's what they're working on. Now, here's my opinion. The United States has to do this as well. As China develops their engineers and ability to manufacture, we need to develop that as well. We have the hardware, software, and we have some leaders in other aspects of tech, but not manufacturing our own chips. So we need to be in that race as well, or else we'll be the only superpower in 10 years that doesn't have the capability. And then we have to rely on people. Okay? Tell me what you think in the chat of that. I see a couple of comments. We have to stop our reliance on foreign sources of manufacturing our technologies. Exactly. The same way people say, we've got to stop our reliance on foreign oil. We've got to nurture our United States and Canadian oil companies. We've got to get off oil and go solar and wind and things, because we're not self-sufficient. And these countries, kind of have a stranglehold on us because our technology, cars and machines and trucks and things that run on oil, right, is beholden to them. Same thing with technology. We got to start thinking about. Okay, Stairs Academy says, yes, it's like giving our power and control away. Exactly. Danny says, self-sufficiency is the way to go. That's right. Now, I actually have a function that I heard that you can do. Oh, yeah, you can pop up on the screen, something I learned today. So if I like your comment, you never know, you might get up on the screen. Let's throw a couple of others on here. Let's shout out to Mac. All right. Exactly. Hey, my wife gave me the info to even start researching this topic, so shout out to her. All right. That's her comment. And keep the comments coming, and we will keep the discussion going. All right. Now, Your Health says China also manufactures a lot of our medicines too. Okay. So yeah, and there's a lot. It's not just China. It's in Taiwan and South Korea. It's a lot of countries that we're reliant on. So if tech is the future, the United States need to put more into tech. Now, what does that mean? Well, in 2014, President Obama decreed that all schools in public schools in the United States must start teaching code as young as kindergarten and all the way through elementary school, middle school, and high school, so that everyone takes code, everyone learns about technology, right? And then certain students are going to gravitate to that, and they're going to see that that could be a career path for them, make a lot of money, so they're going to choose to go into that career. It's going to be their thing that they discovered in school. Previously, it wasn't really offered in every school. Only some schools, the principal was into that, and so a lot of people didn't even know about that career pathway. All right, so we need to nurture and have more tech careers, STEM careers, more engineers, more scientists, inventors, mathematicians. And I don't know if you know that right now, there's more job openings in the United States than there are people who know the technology and the coding to fill those positions. So the United States hires people from other countries. They woo them. They say, if you come here, we'll set you up with an apartment. You work for our company. We have a lot of perks, right? And they get people to come over here because we don't have enough people qualified in those fields. So I strongly encourage anyone who's a teenager, anywhere from like 10 and on, and you're thinking about what schools you want to go to for middle school, for high school, for college, and you're thinking about careers, look into that because that's the future. Hey, shout out to Andy Sarno. He's another arts teacher in the public school system. Salute to him. He says there needs to be incentives to keep the businesses here. That's right. So the cost of labor and building costs so much less in other countries, and that's a big problem. That's part of the reason why we just farm it out. We don't try to do it here. But we need to bring some of it back here so that we can, if let's say the countries that we depend upon, let's say they become allies with a country that's enemies of the United States, and they sanction us. Boom, we have no computers and phones overnight, and our cars won't have computers to run. It'll just be a big mess. Anyway, food for thought. I don't have the answers, but I hope that you leave today's conversation thinking about that in terms of why computer science, engineering, technology, and math are so important in public school, private school, charter school, any type of pre-college level school, because that's where the seeds are sown that inspire young people to go into STEM and tech fields. Okay. Let me know if you got more to say on that topic. But right now, we're going to go over to something else that affects us all, specifically the kinds of ads that you may see if you have a business that you may want to run on YouTube. So the new thing that YouTube announced this week is they're going to ban masthead advertisements. Masthead means like the top banner and the main page of YouTube when you first get there and sign in, not on your YouTube video. Right? So those are bigger ads because everyone sees those no matter what video you're watching. They're going to ban the advertisements for certain things: politics, alcohol, gaming, prescription drugs. Interesting, right? So YouTube will no longer allow political or election advertisements in its coveted masthead spot at the top of the site's homepage, nor advertisements for alcohol, gambling, and prescription drugs. I said that yesterday, Monday. So interesting, right? And scary that politics is now considered a harmful, addictive substance up there with alcohol, gambling, and prescription drugs. It's a crazy world we live in. But I can't say I disagree. It's interesting that Google, which owns YouTube, lifted its ban last week on crypto exchanges advertising, which had been in effect since 2018. So crypto is in. You can advertise for people to use your website to buy some crypto, but gambling is out. And that's ironic since some view crypto trading as a form of gambling, since the currencies are so volatile and unstable. But apparently, investing in crypto is not as toxic as talking about politics on social media. Anyway, in an email to advertisers, YouTube said The change built on its move last year to retire all full-day masthead advertisements. It said it's retired these full-day reservations like the one that then President Donald Trump reserved and helped him dominate its homepage on Election Day 2020, and replaced them with more targeted formats. Here's a quote from YouTube. "We regularly review our advertising requirements to ensure they balance the needs of both advertisers and users," a Google spokesperson said in an emailed statement. "We believe this update will build on changes we made last year to the masthead reservation process, which will lead to a better experience for users." Now, what do you think? Are they doing this for a better experience for us, the users? Because, you know, if you use Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, if you use any social media, Twitter, you're not the customer, you're the product. The customer is the advertiser. And they get to tell them, we have this many million or this many billion users, and we'll put your ad in front of their eyes. And you're their eyes. We're all their eyes. So we are the product, not the customer. Remember that. So rarely do they change things for us, but they word it like that to make us feel like we're getting a good service from Google and YouTube and other things. Right? Now, Google paused political advertisements altogether around the US presidential election, and again ahead of Joe Biden's inauguration in January this year, because they knew like people were going to put some outrageous stuff, and they were trying to, you know, not let YouTube be a conduit for that, right? They said that they have a policy for sensitive events, and they ban ads during that time. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but let me get this straight. Google allowed this type of advertisement during the election when Trump was running the first time, allowing him to take out day-long front-page banner ads, and he won that election, right? But then they stopped this practice for the next U.S. election. Is a front-page banner ad on YouTube the deciding factor of a U.S. presidential election? I'm not saying it is, but that's kind of interesting. You know, there were other people, Facebook and other things, that were all banning Trump, you know. I don't know if they banned him before the election or right after January 6th, you know, after that uprising. But it's interesting, like if you have social media and you have the power to do these ads and you have millions or billions of dollars or corporate funding behind you, you can really push your election, you know, you can really get your results up and possibly win. If you don't have any access to any of that, you're probably not going to. So, you know, I'm just curious as what you guys think. I see Andy's got another interesting point to make. Like everything else, politics and moderation. Otherwise, you become addicted. That's why I'm not going to talk about it anymore, but I gave you just a little taste right now. Thank you for that. And we're moving on to space news. Interested in space travel? Yeah, China is ready to launch and send its first crew to their new space station. All right, I don't know if you know about that. This mission is China's first crewed space flight in about 5 years. So they've got the Long March rocket with the Shen Zou spacecraft attached. It was moved to the launch pad, and I hope I'm pronouncing these things right, at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center last week. Yeah, shout out to Baron Hathshire. Yes, no politics, he says. That's true. All right, the Shen Zou 12 is the name of the ship. It's going to dock with the main section of the Tiangong station, named Tianhe, which was placed in orbit April 29th, not too long ago. A cargo craft last month brought fuel, food, equipment for this new crewed mission, so there will be food and stuff up there, right? Now, another 11 missions are planned over the next year and a half to complete the construction of the Tiangong in orbit, including the attachment of solar panels and 2 laboratory modules. Okay, one question I have, especially considering the prevailing theories on the COVID-19 lab leak hypothesis, which is getting closer to theory and closer to just true, right? The majority of scientists now believe that it was a lab leak. The majority didn't believe that a few months ago. So new things have been coming to light, changing people's mind. So considering that, my question is, What exactly will they be doing in these labs in space on the space station? What will they be testing? What are they testing now in other space stations? No matter what the country, if you know something about that, if you study that or involved in that, or if you have a similar question about something going on up there, meet me in the comments, all right? That's just food for thought. Now, gamers, any gamers out there? Any fans of Transformers? The movie, the figures, the comic books, anything, Transformers, Autobots, Decepticons, check this out. This one's for you. Niantic and Hasbro have partnered to announce a new game called Transformers Heavy Metal. I put the logo in the thumbnail for this live. This real-world mobile AR game looks to satiate all Transformers fans, letting them team up with the likes of Bumblebee and the Autobots to save the world from the Decepticons. The Transformers franchise was a big deal in the mid-'80s where I grew up, and the robots are remembered even today due to the movies and comic books. Niantic has been working with Seattle-based company called Very Very Spaceship, who also made Pokemon Go and Ingress, and they're the development studio. The game will enter a soft launch in select countries soon, and a global launch is planned for later this year. Yeah, your help. They're studying on how to take over the world and escape into space. That's what they're doing up there, exactly. And he says, Transformers in space. That's right. So gamers, is this big news? Are you excited about the Transformers Heavy Metal AR game? Let me know in the comments. All right. Now, we're almost at the end of our live, but this is where it comes, what people have been waiting for. Welcome to the Cybersky, world of crypto. The Bitcoin price is once again surging, pulling the rest of the crypto market up with it. Why? Tesla CEO Elon Musk, he keeps coming back, tweeted on June 13th, just a couple of days ago, where he wrote that the electric car maker will resume allowing Bitcoin transactions if, and this is the big if, there is a confirmation of reasonable, which is give or take, about 50% clean energy usage by miners. Okay, so in a previous Tech Talk, I think 2 episodes ago, I explained about the mining process. Part of that uses coal in some countries where their electricity is gotten by coal. So that you burn a lot of electricity running all these supercomputers at the same time 24/7, you're going to end up causing more pollution into the atmosphere from the creation of that electricity, right? So at the time, I think I said that 70% of the electricity used in mining Bitcoin was from clean energy sources, and about 30% was not. Or maybe I have that flipped. Is it 30% is clean and 70% uses coal? I'm not sure if I'm getting that reversed because it's been a couple weeks since I first heard that fun fact. If you know, put it in the comments. But what Elon Musk is saying, that when we get down to 50% clean energy used by miners, he'll allow the coins to be used to buy a Tesla. Now, is he kind of like making a trick now? Is it already over 50%? Or even if it's 70% now, that means he only has to get transmissions down 20%, right, of mining to be used to get it to 50% from 70%, to be using clean energy sources, which could be wind power, solar power, water power, called hydro, right? Now, after that tweet, the next day, the 14th, today's the 15th, so yesterday, the value of Bitcoin rose 10%, more than 10%. And now, as of today, it's trading above 40,000, okay? I think it hit 41,000 today and it dropped back a little bit. It's hovering around 40,000 right now. Leading cryptocurrencies, including Ethereum, Cardano, and Dogecoin, were all in the green at the start of this week, pushing their combined value above 1.75 trillion for the first time since May. There's a lot of coins that are up today, but the highest is Polkadot, whose symbol is DOT, which is up 15% in the last 24 hours. You can Google this. You can look it up right now. DOT is way up in one day, 15%. Positive news for Ethereum, also helped boost its price on Monday, and it's still rising today since Goldman Sachs revealed its plans to offer Ether options. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but if you know about options and you know about stock trading, the banking giant already offers options and futures trading in Bitcoin and now wants to expand to the next closest rival. So now we've got Goldman Sachs with options in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now this could have good effects and bad effects. Yeah, he's definitely back into crypto, Danny. Now we'll check this out. We've seen Elon Musk, since you're asking, is he now for crypto? We've seen him come out for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and then against, and then for, and then against, and then for it again, all while not divesting of his own crypto holdings. So he never got rid of any of his crypto. He just spoke out for or against it and said he would or wouldn't accept it in trade as currency to purchase a Tesla vehicle. So it's clear he's a master manipulator of all the digital currencies, and he's doing that partially for his own benefit. But I have a question for you guys. Is that a bad thing? Now, the vigilante hacker group Anonymous described in their video last week threatening Musk and his companies that he's arrogant, he has a savior complex, and that he's selfish. He's not really working for the good of the common man. So that's their opinion. So is it a good thing or a bad thing that he's influencing the creators and sustainers of crypto to go green? Because he's going to make crypto go green sooner rather than later. So let me know your thoughts in the future. He may be doing it for his own, his own profit, but he is pushing the industry in a direction that's good for the planet. So I'll leave that to you. And no talk of crypto would be complete without mention of its blockchain sister, NFTs. Before I get into this last story about a really interesting NFT, if you'd like to learn more about blockchain technology, NFTs, and cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Dogecoin, what's another good one? Harmony. I'm just throwing out some altcoins that are cool. Subscribe and ring the bell so that when I start putting up my tutorials, what is blockchain? What is crypto? How does Bitcoin get its value? How does Ethereum get its value? Which coins, are attached to a meaningful technology? All informational, all educational for you to understand it better. Make sure you're subscribed. Those videos will be dropping soon. Now, here's the crib notes on NFTs. What's an NFT? Non-fungible token. What is that? The short version. It's a form of crypto asset which records ownership of a digital object, such as an image, a video, a text. Anyone can view them, but only the buyer of an NFT has the official status of being the owner. And shout out to my boy LR Blitzkrieg. He said on another podcast that I was doing that you can kind of think of it as a certificate of authenticity. So if you collect collector's items and you get a figurine, or you get a baseball signed, or you get a coin, anything physical that you collect, it comes with a certificate of authenticity that verifies that this is the real one, it's not counterfeit, and you own that, right? So an NFT is kind of like a digital signature that lives on the blockchain that's extremely provable and very impossible to forge and fake and counterfeit. And it shows that you are the owner of that digital collector's item. It's nothing physical. All these items live on the internet. All right. Well, here's some big news. Christie's, the auction house, is about to auction the artwork of an 18-year-old transgender artist named Fewocious. Now, I'm not trying to be funny and say ferocious, but say it with a W. That's how it's spelled. Fewocious. Fewocious. In the form of a non-fungible token, NFTs. It announced this on Monday, yesterday, as the world's major auction houses ramp up their sales of NFTs. A little bit about the artist. Fewocious, real name Victor Langlois, has 5 lots going on sale, with each representing a year in his life as he discovered his gender identity between the ages of 14 and 18. They will be sold at Christie's from June 23rd to June 30th. So if you want to get in on this, it's an online auction, and it's called I'm Victor Fewocious and This Is My Life. Coincides with Pride Month. All right. Now, each lot consists of video artwork, which exists, remember, in digital form only, sold as an NFT, a set of doodles, drawings, and journal entries from the corresponding year in both physical and NFT form, as well as a physical-only painting. So he's pairing the digital with some physical collector's items as well. Fewocious, who started making art at age 13, said digital art was a refuge and escape from his conservative household where he had to hide his true self. His NFT sales to date have fetched more than 18 million. Christie's said he sold his first NFT in 2020 for just $1,000. So he started at $1,000 and he's now created NFTs and sold enough to bring in 18 million. NFT sales gave Fewocious the funds to move out of his childhood home in Las Vegas. He now lives in Seattle. I'm putting my heart out there, so I'm just happy that someone is seeing it. He said, yeah, I'm also happy for the 18 million, I'm sure. I'm saying that. I hope, he says, that other trans kids or adults can see this and be like, wow, that's another person who did something cool, because I remember being little and seeing trans people succeed and feeling so seen and validated, end quote. NFTs exploded onto the scene and became popular at the start of 2021. So this is the newest technology. So if you remember, crypto was started in 2009, so people have fear of missing out. They're just getting in now. Or NFTs just started this year, okay? An NFT known from the artist Beeple sold for $69.3 million at a Christie's auction just in March. And what was the first ever sale by a major auction house of artwork, which doesn't exist in physical form. So NFTs are being sold before then on various websites, but now that was the first time that a major auction, right, Christie's auction house, sold an NFT, sold something that's not physical, right? Since then, Christie's and fellow auction houses, Sotheby's, have run multiple NFT sales. Sotheby's first auction sale of an NFT only fetched a mere 1.47 million. That's all. Damn, Sotheby's, how are you gonna let Christie's auction house sun you like that? 1.47 million, that's trash. 69 million they just paid. Anyway, for that Beeple thing. So what's my takeaway on all this? All right. NFTs are not going anywhere. They're big business now, just like crypto. NFTs run on a blockchain technology. They're related to crypto. Most prominently, most of them are using Ethereum's platform. Ethereum is an altcoin that has crypto and also has platforms and coding languages that are used to create NFTs and other things as well for many companies and business. So some ordinary people are getting rich off of this, and millionaires and billionaires are getting even richer because they're starting to put, remember last week I told you Mark Cuban, one of Trump's former advisors, Carl Icahn, and billionaire, well, Elon Musk, of course, they each $1.5 to $2.5 billion. So everyone's making money. Now, do you think anything, not even being supposedly run on coal, is going to stop this movement, which is making billions of dollars and has been building since 2009? I doubt it. I mean, when coal and oil were new technology making people rich, the fact that they ran on, that they were coal and oil didn't stop anybody. And that's why many people have already gotten in, and many more are now going to decide it's finally time, since crypto is now going to be moving away from fossil fuel energy and getting its electricity through greener, clean, energy. So if you're thinking about creating an NFT, if you're an artist or an investor, investing in or trading crypto and want to learn more about it so that you can make better, more informed decisions, make sure you subscribe to Cybersky videos and ring the bell for notifications. I'm making several videos on crypto, NFTs, and blockchain right now, which will start going up in the next few weeks. Share this video with friends who love technology, and I'll see you all next Tuesday. Shout out to everyone in the chat. I really appreciate all of you. And shout out to everyone who's leaving questions and comments in the comment section under this YouTube video. Shout out to my Facebook fam, who are throwing comments into the chat as well. I'll be back next week, Tuesday, Tech Talk Tuesday, Cybersky Live on the Cybersky Videos channel. Follow me on all social media at Cybersky Videos, right there on the bottom. And stay positive. Remember, the best revenge is success. Stay healthy, my friends. And as always, stay blessed.